welcome back to Open. Our last guest is a visionary poet, entrepreneur, and teaching artist. Based out of Queens, she is the winner of the 2023 Brooklyn Grand Poetry Slam Finals and the New Eurekan Poetry Slam. She's dedicated to unapologetically taking space while encouraging others to do the same. Everyone, please welcome spoken word artist JRose. And you're like,
yay! Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor. I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. I'm so excited to dive into this conversation of just how you've designed your life to revolve around your spoken word work.
Ooh, that journey has been something that I never even dreamed of. I've been writing since a teenager, but I never expected that to bring me here. And it wasn't until I was in my 30s when I felt very lost. I felt like I was living for everybody else but me. And I needed something for myself. And I found my way to poetry. I found my way to the New Eurekan Poets Cafe stage. And I never got off the stage. I just kept going back, and here I am doing things that I never thought it would be a career.
I know.
Yeah.
And that's the most fascinating part of
Yeah.
it, right? So, I mean, congratulations on
Thank
your
you.
wins. Let's
Thank
start
you.
there.
Thank you.
Right? Because obviously that's you, I want to say, competing on a level of like being able to just spit, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I never thought I'd be competing. I didn't grow up in the slam culture.
Right.
I don't have the typical upbringing of most poets. So like I stepped into slam very late in my career, and it was just something that a mentor, shout out to Jive Poetic, who was like, you need to get on that slam. And I was like, okay. And then I won, and I kept winning other slams, and I was just like, I was just shocked that people really felt my words in that way.
Well, it's wonderful.
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
thank you.
And we're so happy to have you here and share it with our viewers.
Yes.
And also, to know that you're also holding space for the New Eurekan Poets Cafe, right? So, I originate from the New Eurekan Poets Cafe. I was discovered at the New Eurekan Poets Cafe
Yes.
to be here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, many moons ago. We're not going to talk about the year.
Respect.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes, and so the fact that you're holding it down at the Bowery Poetry Club, right?
Yes.
Only because the New Eurekan's under renovation.
Yes. They were awarded this amazing grant to renovate the entire building. So a lot of people didn't know is that the New Eurekan actually owned the whole building. It wasn't just the first floor.
Right.
So they're renovating the whole building. There's going to be multiple performance spaces, workshop spaces, and a bunch of stuff like that. So they're closed for 3 years. And it was very sad. I cried like a baby the last few nights that we were there. But we're still running programs in other facilities. We're all over New York, not just at Bowery Poetry Club. It just so happens that the Monday Night Slam is being hosted there, and I'm one of the hosts, which is such an honor, such a crazy full circle moment. Would have never thought that.
But the beauty is that you're holding it down.
Yeah.
You're holding down the New Eurekan Poetry's identity at another location
Yeah.
while making sure that it's being facilitated with the next generation of poets that are going to be part of this new, an upgraded version of New Eurekan
Listen,
Poets Cafe.
These new poets are different. I am like so honored that I even get to witness people's growth, because aside from the New Eurekan Poets Cafe, I have my own platform. So hosting events on my own platform.
Right, don't you have JRose Gardens?
The Rose Garden
The
event.
Rose Gardens. I like
Yeah.
that concept, by the way.
Thank you. Branded.
Yeah.
But
Blossom.
see, you're a poet. I already knew this. But yet I'm so like honored. Sometimes I get very emotional talking about it, because I've witnessed so many artists, poets, even musicians just starting, and now knowing them 5 years from then, and they're doing amazing things, and just watching people's growth. I love it so much.
When I read that you work at Rikers Island, Rikers Correctional Facility, I thought, whoa, okay, that's different. That's different because that's a commitment that you made to people who are basically restricted,
Very.
and here you are stepping into their world to offer them hope
Right.
through their writing.
It's a very humbling experience going in there. And I've been there, going in there for 2 years now, so it's once a week. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to work with.
2 years once a week.
2 years once a week.
Wow.
Yeah, every Wednesday. Now, every Wednesday I'm there. And I work with an organization called Youth Justice Network. And what they do is they provide resources for youths that are justice impacted when they get out. But part of that work requires people to go in and make these connections. And so they have different programs that they bring people in there. They have, people that come and check and help them with their court papers, or, prepare them for their court meetings. But I come in there and I do spoken word workshops, and I give them the power of their pen. And for them, it's an amazing opportunity to actually have a voice and be heard.
Right.
Because being in a space like that, you're muted,
Right.
always muted. You're told what to do, when to do it, how many times a day you can do it. And it's just, the environment is not fun. And I come in and I bring them peace for an hour and a half. Each unit, I spend an hour and a half with them. And at the end of the month, we do an open mic for them.
Nice.
And they get to perform, and we invite correction officers to also join, and sometimes they share their poems, and it turns into this moment of community.
Right.
And everybody gets to see each other and experience each other as a human being.
Nice.
Because that's not always the case in there. That's not how people are always treated. And
you work in the female division, though, right?
yes, I work with the women because, as we were talking about off air, a big focus for Youth Justice Network is to bring resources to the women, because they don't get supported like the men do. Every time I go there, I look at the visitors line, and it's always a line full of mothers, daughters, sisters, girlfriends, wives, side pieces, girlfriends, children, and very rarely do I see a lot of men on the visitors line. And what's even harder to know is that a lot of those women that are coming to visit, they're not even visiting the women, they're visiting the men. And it's an example of how women are always standing behind men as being a big support system. And then sometimes the women don't get that. Reciprocity,
there's
right?
this expectation. That reciprocation.
Yes, there's this expectation as women that we're strong.
Right.
Especially women of color.
Right.
We're strong.
Right.
It's okay if we don't have that much support, because we can still do it.
Right.
And I think that mentality is what keeps the women from being more supported.
Right.
And it's sad, and I'm just glad that I'm able to be somebody.
Disrupt it a little bit. Kind of,
shake
sort
the
of,
room.
right? Well, because you're giving them a voice.
Yes.
You're giving them a voice to be empowered amongst each other.
Yes.
Which is a big deal, right?
Yes.
Because then it shifts the mindset.
Yes, they become more tribe-minded.
Right.
I see it when at first a lot of them won't talk to each other. They have this weird beef,
Right.
high school.
Right.
And then after a few weeks of coming in, all of a sudden they're like, oh, she wrote a poem, and they're pulling each other in, and I'm like, oh yeah, I wasn't talking last week. I see y'all writing poems together. Okay, excuse me. And it starts to create this tribe and sisterhood that we need
and harmony.
Yes, and we need to,
in spite of.
Yeah,
right,
in
because
spite.
the circumstances are they're their own
ideal.
thing, right?
Not
and
ideal.
something that I don't think none of us can really fathom, right?
No.
So how does that make you feel walking in there? And you just said you've been doing it every Wednesday for 2 years now. What does that do to you and your spirit?
It was really hard at first. I would drive home really quiet after meeting with they drain me, and I'm not saying it in a negative way. But I go in there and I pour a lot,
Right.
and I have to be mindful of that, because that's why I try to avoid putting too much on my schedule on Wednesdays, because it's emotionally demanding.
Right.
Being in there and hearing their stories.
Right.
And I walk in there with no judgment. I don't ask anybody why they're there.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk about their case. I'm not there to judge you for what,
Right.
They'd share with me. And for me, it fills me with this sense of gratitude for my life, because they're no different from me. I could have been that person. I'm one decision away from being in the same position. and I'm not.
Right.
You know, and I've, you know, as teenagers and youths, I
Right.
made some mistakes
Right.
and could have put me there.
Right.
You know, I just got away with it.
Right.
You know, or
Right.
I wasn't punished or whatever. And
Right.
so for me, it fills me with this sense of gratitude that, like, I'm so grateful that the decisions and the choices that I made and the path that I got led through kept me from having to be there.
Right.
But I could have.
Wow.
Just like anybody
that's powerful.
else.
I applaud you for your
Thank you.
transparency.
Thank you.
No, I'm serious. I'm like, oh,
Thank you.
I feel you.
Yes.
No, because it's truth. Now, before we go, because we're running out of time, we got to talk about this album. We got to talk about the album because you're going to give us a little taste of something afterwards, and we got to leave them, you know, with the nice bam.
This album.
Get it.
Okay, so the album is called Pieces of My Crumbled Thoughts, and it's exactly what it sounds like, just pieces of my life. It tells different stories of, there's very vulnerable pieces in there about mental health, but there's also love, there's romance, there's sensuality, there's paying homage to my ancestors, there's uplifting of women and men, because a lot of times, a lot of poetry, that spoken word that becomes really popular is like the male bashing, and that's not my style.
Right.
So I have poetry in there that really uplifts men as well, not just talking about how they be messing up, you know?
Yeah.
Can't write all the poems about it.
You know,
but
you're using diplomatic language because it's not like they be messing up.
You know,
I know the language.
I got to get HR in here. But it's, you know, it has about the last maybe 9 years of some of my best poems that I've written in the last 9 years. I've been writing for over 25 years, and it's long overdue. And there's music on it. Music plays a big influence on my writing, so I had to put music on there. And it was just a very humbling as well experience, because when I walked into the studio, I was like, half the work is done. I wrote the poems already. I just got to say them on the microphone. But that wasn't the case, right? Because when there's music involved, a band involved, an engineer, it's like all these moving parts to be an actual recording artist. And I learned so much. I have a newfound respect for recording artists, especially those that are constantly putting out content. Like, how do y'all do it, please? Because it was a little stressful, but the journey is what you're supposed to enjoy.
So how many songs, well, not songs, but spoken word pieces, right? Because it's spoken word with music.
Yeah.
How many are in the album?
So the album has 20 tracks, but there's 17 poems on there.
Oh my gosh! And where can people get it?
It's streaming on all streaming platforms:
I can't wait
Spotify,
to
Apple
listen to it.
Music, Tidal. Like, it's everywhere. It's titled "Pieces of My Crumbled Thoughts." It released on the 21st on World Poetry Day, which is perfect day to drop an
Congratulations.
album. And I'm getting amazing feedback from a lot of people. People are loving it. People are telling me things like, listening to this was healing, and I'm like, wow, I'm getting goosebumps.
I know, I'm getting goosebumps just listening to you. I know, because you know why? Because I know, I know the thought and the consciousness that was put into it. For right now, we're gonna encourage you not to go anywhere, because when we return, JRose is gonna perform for us after the break, and you don't want to miss it. JRose, everyone.
Thank you.
Woo! Yes. Hey everyone, welcome back to Open. Here now to perform Muse. Let's give it up for JRose.
Baby, I'm here to tell you you're a gift. A blessing within chaos. I never expected you to exist. A muse falling from the very heavens. I praise the moment we met, this virtual connection, virtually transcending into more than friends. Fantasies flooding the gates of my imagination as I surrender my heart to undreamed dreams I never imagined to dream. Admiring your stealthiness as you steal my hidden affection like the slowest thief in the longest night. One piece at a time I oblige, taking my breath away every time I look into your eyes. Visions of standing close enough to gift wrap my lips wrapped around your whispers. Your voice vibrating through me, manifesting new life into my stars, where there's consolation in the constellation of your words from afar. Alignment has never aligned with such grace. Lord knows I never felt more royal in space, baby. I'm trying to tell you, you out of this world. Past cloud 9, dominating all layers of my mind. There's no hole in this ozone our conversations can't redesign. This type of atmosphere throws my existence off its axis, and now I know why all my exes made their exits. Caught between space and time and space, like a palindrome. It doesn't matter which way you look at it, the message stays the same. There's writing on the wall, and I wonder if its density is the destiny that was meant for me. I must be betrothed to your essence, like a queen made in the reflection of your essence, where my gratitude builds you a throne of reverence, king. May I be the brightest gem to adorn your crown. I've built castle walls made up of my shadows, but the smiles you conjure out of me shine a light through the loopholes, and for the first time in a long time, I could see my way out. I've always said never fall in love with a poet, for they'll never love you more than words, but baby, you are language, created for expression. And although the difference in our distance is a torture of time zones, 5 hours ahead just means you've always been in my future. Baby, I'm trying to tell you, you got all my attention. And that's more than what I can say, what I'd pay anyone else. They don't deserve to crave me like you do. Yearning for unexpected mysteries, uncovering undetected vulnerabilities, exposing unperfected symmetries, yet you always match my energy. We must be designed to satisfy our sapiosexual drive, like we're cruising on a Sunday afternoon, sharing sun rays on some days. What I do to share a breeze with you someday. See, patience is not my strongest suit, but I practice wearing it if it means I share a new virtue with you. And some would say I'm falling for you, but baby, it feels more like I'm floating for you. Ascending, facing these fear of heights, ascending to this high with you. Journaling this journey of joy with you. Encapsulating our love story in this love poem, you as my muse, and I'm just amused that I didn't even have to write this. You saw it in my eyes long before the words came to my mind and made it to my pen. How beautiful it is to be seen. Our fluency in love languages rekindle flames of past lives, a reminder that I'm still alive with poetry bursting at my seams. I built an arc of sonnets to carry me across uncharted seas, as long as you're here to read it. Thank you.
Everyone, JRose, oh my gosh. And once again, her first poetry album, Pieces of My Crumbled Thoughts, is out now on all streaming platforms. And to learn more about her work as an artist and educator, you can visit rosegardenevents.com and follow her on social media at My Crumbled Thoughts. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests who are coming through. JRose, that was so beautiful. And for you, and to you for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out this episode throughout the weekend and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rena Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor. All right, mi gente, we're closing out Women's History Month very strong. So happy Women's History Month. And blessings to all the women that presented themselves today and the men who support us. Bravo! Man.